I want to go back to May 25th of 2023. Had JJRedick on, and we were talking about a variety of things, and I asked him this question. Where did this come from? Wanting to maybe be a head coach?
Well, I mean, you certainly miss the competitive side of professional basketball when you retire, and that's probably the biggest itch. I'm loving what I'm doing right now, and I'm in a very fortunate situation that I can kind of wait and just see if there's anything that materializes that's sort of a perfect fit. But you know, I've talked with teams now going on a year about assistant jobs, and I'm interested in being a head coach. I don't have to start as a head coach. I don't have to start as an assistant. It doesn't matter to me. It's more just about the fit and the people that are, you know, at the organization.
So that's May 25th of 2023. So a little more than a year ago, he started flirting with teams and vice versa. Then he had a podcast. Then he became the lead analyst for the mothership with their coverage of the NBA. Jeff Van Gundy got kicked to the curb. Mark Jackson got kicked to the curb. Doris Burke and JJ came in. Then all of a sudden, there was an exchange on First Take between JJRedick and Stephen A. Smith where JJRedick pointed out, do people really want to be taught basketball? And he gave a couple of things. He had a couple of references. One was Zion Williamson and what he's doing with the Pelicans the last 20 games playing point forward. And he said he got, 20,000 views. And then there was another part where he criticized Doc Rivers with the Milwaukee Bucks, and that got millions of views. So his point was, with Stephen A., does anybody really care about being taught basketball? And maybe LeBron is listening to that and going, wow, okay, that guy he knows basketball. He's sharp, and he's telling us things. And then all of a sudden they start to do a podcast. Now, is it a coincidence that they started to do a podcast after that? The fact that he then became a candidate for the Lakers job was supposed to be his job, and then all of a sudden, wait a minute, Dan Hurley could be interested in the Lakers? Okay, forget about JJRedick. Let's go all in on Dan Hurley. Then all of a sudden, Dan Hurley said, no, I'm staying at Connecticut. Let's go back in on JJRedick. And it felt like it was always his job to lose, and then he lost it, and then he got it back. But I'm curious who JJRedick is going to surround himself with, because when we talk about experience, we use that a lot, and it's prevalent throughout the interviewing process when you're going to hire a head coach. Dan Campbell, Lions head coach, had never even been a coordinator, and he got the job as the Lions head coach. Now, they hired a lot of veteran coordinators to help him. Now, that's what you need to do. Deion Sanders had never been a coach at a Power 5 school before going to Colorado. They had great recruiting, also a veteran coaching staff. He got somebody from the Alabama coaching staff. And Prime Term turned one of the worst teams in college football into a respectable team in one season. So the Lakers are looking for that similar leap, that similar amount of success first year with JJRedick. It's a 4-year deal, which means if he survives the 4 years, he's probably going to be coaching Anthony Davis and not LeBron James. What are they going to do with Bronny? I was told yesterday, now it's more likely that they're taking Bronny James. As if there was much doubt there, but now it looks like you're going to be taking Bronny James, and you're going to surround yourself with maybe Sam Cassell, who was a head coaching candidate here. Maybe Stan Van Gundy would be a guy you add to your roster. I also thought it was interesting, ironic, that the reason why Jeff Van Gundy, or at least one of the reasons why he was let go by ESPN as their analyst, was they were worried he was going to take another head coaching job. Yeah, he didn't take one. He was an assistant coach, or he was a consultant with the Celtics. Now he's an assistant coach with the Clippers. But here's JJRedick taking the job. Less than a year later, he's a head coach in the NBA. But I want to know who he surrounds himself with, because JJ feels like the CEO. He's very knowledgeable. Everybody can talk about that. He walks in, he looks like he's playing the role in a movie of you're the Lakers head coach. Now you have somebody you can put out in front of the media. It goes back to what I said yesterday. That job is sort of the Cowboys' job of the NBA. everything is under the microscope. Everything. And you got LeBron in there as well. So JJ has to be able to filter out all of the naysayers, the criticism. There's going to be so much gossip here. There's going to be like, I'm hearing, what about the other players? Oh, is he showing, preferential treatment to LeBron? Do you continue your podcast with LeBron? Like, that's a big question mark. Can you continue a podcast with LeBron while coaching the Lakers? Now, while it would be great TV, great podcasting, great content, if I'm the Lakers, I don't want my head coach with his hat backwards talking to LeBron James. You got a job to do. Entertain people by putting an entertaining product out on the floor, not with your podcast. Now, I don't know what's in the language of the contract, but that's what I would say. No, we want you to be the head coach of the Lakers. I don't need you to do it's like Doug Gottlieb is coaching Wisconsin, Green Bay, Stevens Point while doing his radio show. That's different. He can use that for publicity for his program. He'll need that publicity for his program, putting them on the map. He's already gotten publicity. The Lakers don't need publicity. They don't need to have him do this so they can have more people interested in the Lakers. JJRedick should just coach the Lakers, be the CEO of the Lakers. Now you bring in some really good assistant coaches. Jared Dudley, who's with the Mavs. He's somebody that they're going to try to bring in. Sam Cassell with the Celtics. They're going to try to bring him in. That's the important part of all of this to me, because I need somebody who can coach or at least direct, and then I have the underlings, the assistant coaches, who are going to be able to do this day to day. They're going to be doing the day-to-day process here. So, and if I'm JJRedick, I'm not threatened by these guys who might be there waiting to take my job. If we win, then if I'm JJRedick, I win. If we don't win, then I'm going to be vulnerable no matter what. But if you bring in good assistant coaches and you surround him, then I think you got at least a head start here. It doesn't mean they're going to be good. I mean, if you said, what job would you take? Cleveland, Detroit, or the Lakers? If I'm JJRedick, I would have taken Detroit or Cleveland. But it's because I have a chance to just be a coach, not a thing. Like, he's got to go in there, he's got to be something. Like, Cleveland, you just coach. Detroit, you just coach. And, his former teammate, Trajan Langdon, former Dookie, is now running the Pistons. You fire Monty Williams. I sent a note to the Danettes yesterday saying, how is this possible? You got a guy who has 5 more years, $65 million, and you surprise him, blindside him, you rush in and fire him. And it's a fellow Dookie, and here's JJRedick. And we keep waiting for the Lakers. Are they going to sign this guy? And then all of a sudden I'm thinking, is JJRedick got cold feet here? Going, well, I don't know. Wait a minute here. Maybe the Pistons, terrible team. I can go in and I can learn how to coach. He has to be ready to coach when you coach the Lakers. Now, I get it. You win, then all of a sudden, your legacy is firmly cemented. Well, not necessarily, because, Frank Vogel won a title for him. I don't think there's any statue. Is there a statue for Frank Vogel yet?
I'm checking.
It's probably in Orlando that they built it right outside the bubble. But this is a legacy play as well. You're coaching the Lakers. This is why Dan Hurley was interested. Because JJRedick gave up a job that he could do for the next 10 years. Be the analyst on all the NBA. It's a great gig. But it's not as exciting as being on the floor. Being the head coach. Being the Laker head coach. Coaching LeBron. Yes, Stephen.
I know that sometimes I think, like, for us sitting here, you're like, man, you're calling all the games. This is a great gig. Like sitting on this side of things. Yeah. But if you're a former player, you're like, well, I'll do that, I guess. Yeah, I'll do that, but I'd rather be coaching.
It's exciting when I would go, we'd take the NBA show to the Western Conference Finals or the NBA Finals, and like, you're on the floor. Well, if I'm a former player, I'm on the floor, but I don't like just being on the floor. I want to be on the floor doing something like coaching. And JJ had a long, long career and played for a lot of different teams, a lot of different coaches, and, obviously has Coach K on speed dial if he wants to talk to his former coach there at Duke. get some ideas, thoughts, and it's winning the locker room too. It's not just, hey, you got to coach and you got to win. You got to make sure everybody's happy as well. Wait, is he giving preferential treatment to LeBron? How's AD feel about this? What about the other play? He's got to develop the roster. That's the key. Like, you can plug in LeBron, 27, 7, and 7. AD is going to, if he plays, more than 75 games again, and he gives you, 26, 12, and, 3 blocks. Okay, now it's the other guys that I'm worried about, because that's where your success or your failure is going to be. A lot of teams that have 2 really good players, it's the players around them that make them a playoff team, make them a title threat. And I think that's the biggest thing that JJRedick's going to have to do. Win the locker room, and also, in-game changes. They weren't able to adapt in-game. That was the big knock on Darvin Ham. Can you change something? What are you doing? What's different here? Now he has to do that as well. That's where you get people's attention. Like, hey, they're doing this, we're going to do this. Then all of a sudden it's successful, and you're going, all right, I'm going to listen to that guy. Yes, Marv.
What should be the Lakers' realistic goal for next season?
Not to play in the play-in game. How about we solidify a playoff spot? How about you're the 5th seed, 4th seed? I think that would be a fair goal.
Second round of the playoffs?
Yes. Now, that's not going to be the expectations. It's going to be greater than that. Because you're going to go, all right, are we last year's team, or are we the team the previous year when we went to the Western Conference Finals? You got to figure out how good you are and be realistic with that. And if this is a 4-year deal, what is the plan? Because you got to have a LeBron plan and then a post-LeBron plan. And I think that will be interesting. And it feels like, these coaches only last 2 years there. If JJRedick lasts 3 years or more, then he's solved LeBron, AD, and he's built something there. And there's a culture that's there. But this isn't easy. This isn't easy at all. And I know it sounds crazy to say I'd rather coach Cleveland or Detroit. It's because it allows me to kind of go in and learn on the job with a younger roster. Now, Cleveland is a playoff team. Detroit is a bad team. But you get to go in, and now we're together. We're going to figure this out together, and we're going to become something. And it's not like Detroit's not a legacy program. I mean, they've had great teams. But that's what I thought, that maybe he would go to Detroit, or maybe he was having second thoughts. But as soon as I said that, I think Paulie sent me a note. Woj just said that JJRedick has signed a 4-year deal with the Lakers. I'm like, I'm so fired up. I'm so ahead of this. He's going to go to Detroit. And then he's going to the Lakers.